Hello and welcome to another Devlin's Pirate Radio Show. I am Devlin, and you probably figured that out before I even told you. Good for you. Anyhow, I'm a little bit nutty tonight, so hopefully that makes for a really good show. Anyhow, I got a couple of things I'd like to talk about, because that's what I do on my podcast. Before I get to that, I just want to thank you, as always. I love to thank you for all your support and stuff. I've already heard some good things about the last episode I did with my friend Dave Marshall. I guess a lot of you thought it was really interesting hearing the very early ramblings of me when we were doing skits and stuff. We didn't get to play you that much, but from what I've heard, people really kind of enjoyed seeing that side of me. Yeah, I admit it was very crude and stuff. It was actually fun going through memory lane and going through some of the episodes to find something that was suitable. You should have heard the stuff we couldn't play for you. It was just, wow, I didn't realize we were that raunchy. So, thank you for taking the time. And for anything, if you've ever taken the time to let me know what you feel, thank you for that, because it means a lot to me. I've always said I would do this telecast even if it was, one person listening. But it is nice when I hear, wow, this person's listening, this person's listening, this person's listening. And it really intrigues me to see what things you like. Some people have told me they like my personal stories. Some people tell me they like when I have a guest on and get to be goofy and all insane and flirty. And yeah, I just love getting feedback. So please, if you have a little bit of time, I already appreciate that you're taking time listening to this, but shoot me out an email or post on our Facebook fan page or YouTube or wherever, iTunes, leave a comment, whatever. I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. Anyhow, let's get to our first topic of the night. I am one of the least political people you will meet. Now, that doesn't say that I don't follow politics, or I have my opinions, or that I don't vote. I do vote all the time. And, but I don't really express my political opinions too much. But I decided there's an election coming up here in Canada. And the thing I love is that no matter when you listen to this podcast, whether you listen to it the week I drop it or a couple of years from now, there probably is going to be an election coming up, because this is Canada and there's always an election coming up. So me saying that, it doesn't matter when I say it, it's always going to be pertinent. But yes, there is a election coming up, and I just want to give my 2 cents on. I'm not going to give you my political feelings or tell you who you should vote for or who I'm going to vote for. All I'm going to tell you is vote. And that's what this segment primarily is that you need to get out there and vote, because it has been dismal. The 2011 election, just over 49% of the population voted. That is atrocious, and that needs to change. But I'm not going to sit here and, I hate when people say, you can't complain about the government unless you vote. I'm not going to say that, because that's absolutely bullshit. Voting or not, you can complain whatever you want to do. So I'm not going to give you that speech. And I'm not going to give you the speech of, well, what does it matter if I vote? It's only one vote. And I'm going to agree with you. It is only one vote. But you know what? There are times that one vote is going to matter. Number one, well, what if there's a tie or very close? That one vote could push it either way. So yes, one vote may not make a difference, but you know what? There are times that one vote is crucial. Imagine you hear the guy you voted for lost by one vote, and then you realize that could have been my vote that pushed him over. Another thing about your one vote is it might not mean that much, but I'll be honest with you, it does mean a lot when you put it with thousands of other one votes that didn't want to vote that year. And then you're talking into like the thousands and multiple things. So one vote does mean a lot, you know. Maybe on paper it doesn't look like it does, but when it works with others, it'd be great. And I think it's just your right to vote. There are places all over the world that people would just kill to vote for. You know, get the chance to have a say. And you have that opportunity, you know. People have been fighting for the chance to vote, you know, even when you go back in time, you know, with, you know, black people and women. And they, like, fought to get the vote. And now people kind of take it for granted. Like, well, you know, I've just been so busy. You know, I had to go do my dry cleaning. I had to go run around here and there. Well, you should put it on your list of things to do, because it really is an important thing to do. Now, if you're saying to yourself, well, I don't know, I try to watch the debates, and I do. I try to watch the debates, and my heads just spin. Because I'm not necessarily a trustworthy person when it comes to politicians. But I agree, sometimes it's hard to decide who you want to vote for. But we live in an age where if you can't make it through the debates, there's a lot of sites that give kind of little cheat sheets out there where you can go look it up and they will tell you basically the main things that the politicians are for and against. So you can just go to one of those sites and just do a quick look at, oh yeah, okay, this is their thoughts on education, this is their thoughts on abortion, this is their thoughts on the environment, and so on and so on and so on. There's a lot of sites. You just have to type it in, look at it, and you can see that. You also have research that you can do in-depth searches. Like if you really want to get to know candidates, you can look at, there's so much online. Just make sure you're looking at reliable sources. Because there's a lot of crap out there about stuff too. And sadly, a lot of that crap comes from the actual politicians. Like, it's amazing to see the slander commercials on TV that just basically rather concentrate on, you know, superficial things rather than the meat and potatoes of it all. But yeah, you have so much information at your disposal. It's not like the old days where you'd have to read a newspaper or you'd have to, like, follow things. Or you'd go by, you know, what the moral majority was. You actually can look this stuff up. And you can either do it quickly or take some time, do the research. Then there's also the whole, you can actually, if you don't find a candidate that you like, and I have to be the first to admit, I personally don't like some of the ways that we do the voting in Canada. I don't like the whole, you know, because, you know, I wish we could just vote for Prime Minister rather than vote for the person in our jurisdiction, because I don't like the fact that I may like the candidate for Prime Minister in this party, but the candidate in my district is not the one I want to support. And I don't like that. So it's like, so I have to vote against the person I want for Prime Minister because I don't believe in the personal values of that thing. And I think that's where things get to be a little messy and stuff. It's like, so I have to vote for somebody I don't like just to get, you know, the person I want into the Prime Minister seat. And as I said, if you feel there is no candidates, there is an official way to decline your vote. And I know there's a lot of people who don't promote this, but to be honest with you, I think getting the numbers to the election booths are more important than, oh, you have to make a choice. So I think it's important that if you really don't have anybody you want to vote to, go in and officially decline your vote. Because then your vote is counted, and your declined vote is counted too, but at least you made a say, and at least it says, I made the effort to come in, and I actually voted, but I do not believe that there's a candidate that I think is worthy for the job. And that speaks volumes too. So how you do that is when you go on voting day, you go in and you give them your name and your information, and then they hand you the ballot. And then you basically turn around and hand the ballot back saying, I'm declining my vote. And you can give whatever reason you want. They will write declined, but you will still get a mark saying that you came out and voted. Now, honestly, I've been to voting days where I didn't have the right information. Like I didn't have the identification I had, not information. And I didn't have it because I don't have a driver's license, and they pushed so hard to have a driver's license. I didn't have a passport. I had all this other stuff, but they wouldn't accept it. I was very pissed off, and Mike actually had to stand in front of a whole bunch of people and put his hand up and make a declaration that the man standing before you is Donald Bishop. It made me feel very small and very, I don't know, it made me just horrible, just because like they were judging me on the fact that I don't drive, or, you know, I don't have a passport at the ready and stuff. And, you know, I had all this other identification, like everything pointed to me being me. You know, I thought it was really stupid that they wouldn't even take the envelope that they sent me with information as with my address on it. I thought that was really kind of strange, because it's like, well, you sent this to me, I got it, I'm here, and now you're telling me that this doesn't count as legal mail. Anyhow, I was really embarrassed. I vowed I'd never vote again, but I still did, because I know at the end of the day it's my duty, and I have to fulfill it. And even if it means, you know, as I said, doing my homework intensely, or if I just look online and see, you know, the main things, I still do it. Even though I vowed that day, you asked Mike, there was lots of language on the way home in the car, and I just felt like a third-rate citizen, you know, because I don't, you know, drive, or I don't travel. Ridiculous. The sheer amount of identification I had with me that they wouldn't accept. Now, I've heard recently that there are a lot of little scams coming up to try to keep you from voting, and I really hope I don't have to deal with that again, because I do now have a passport that I will be bringing, and I will be bringing my age of majority card too, so hopefully I won't have that problem. But I've heard there's some scams, and by all means, if you fall for any of these scams and they try to get you not to be able to vote, you fight for it any way you can, and you get your vote in. You know, whoever you're voting for, you know, or you decline it. Now, I personally don't like to tell people who I'm voting for. I have no problem, you know, if they ask me, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you. But I also have no problem for people, you know, posting on the Facebook of, you know, who they like, who they don't like, or getting really vocal about the election. I think it's great. And I think this particular election, you're seeing a lot of passion towards it, because, you know, a lot of people have been just dissatisfied with everything. And the way the country has been run the last, you know, well, quite a while. And so I'm all for that. You know, just because I don't get political, I think it's great to see people passionate about wanting to make a difference. I'm really disappointed, though, seeing the youth. When you see that it's the majority of youth that don't go out and vote, you know, this is the world that you're going to have. This is what we're leaving you, and you should be taking more of a vested interest in it. You know, I think Rick Mercer just made a wonderful quote about, you know, if you want to shock the government, all you 18 to 25 who choose not to vote should go out and vote this year and show them what a difference your votes will mean. And, I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember the quote. And he is absolutely right. You guys should be more important to vote than anybody else. A lot of older people are, set in their ways. They've got this, that. But you are the ones that you're always talking about how you want to make a difference and, you want to change things. Well, you know what? Making the right choice politically will help. Yes, I truly believe that no matter what government is in party, will wind up screwing us up somehow. But you know what? Some are worse than others. So I say do your homework and then get out to the voting stations and vote. It's not like it's a big deal. It literally doesn't take that long. And they have done so many things. You can vote early. You can, there's some places that will drive you, like they'll arrange getting you there. So the more excuses you make, the more it just looks kind of weak due to the fact that there's no excuse for you not to go out there. And as I said, just decline it if you really don't want. But at least it says you're out there and you're doing it. And so as I said, this is about as political as you'll hear me get. And no, I'm not going to sit here and tell you who I'm going to vote for. That's my business. I'm a strong believer in you should never talk politics or business, or no, politics and religion. Yeah, you can talk business all you want. And I both are ones that I will proceed cautiously. Yeah, I will talk about gross and crazy stuff, but those two topics they're out of my, not that I'm not interested in it. It's just they're out of my realm of comfort. They're out of my comfort zone, basically. But I can't say strongly, go out there and vote. So there, I've said it. We're gonna wrap up this segment and talk about something a little bit more. Something I'm passionate about, something that has changed my life in so many ways. And I will talk about this diva, this muse of mine when I get back right after this. Hello, we're back, and I'm going to talk about a subject that's very near and dear to me. I have mentioned this lady once or twice on a show. Who am I kidding? I mention this woman probably a lot in my life because she is truly my diva, my inspiration. She is Olivia Newton-John, and yes, I'm talking about the singer-actress from movies like Grease and Xanadu and Two of a Kind and all that stuff. And I am a huge fan, for those of you who don't know. For those of you who do know, you're probably surprised it took me this long to do a segment on her. And I just kept forgetting about it, but she does influence a big part of my life. I know we get, some people find, people they bond with immediately. Like when you are a kid, you listen or you become a fan of something, and a lot of people, it disappears as you grow up. I thought my Olivia Newton-John obsession probably would too, but it's only grown as I get older. And I think I made a really good choice on the person I was inspired by. I knew about Olivia Newton-John when I was a kid. My older brother Ernie went through a country phase, and he used to listen to some Olivia Newton-John. I liked her music, but it never really spoke to me. I probably just wasn't paying attention, back when I was really young. I enjoyed music, but, I had my favorites, and that was it. Then, of course, like any kid my age, I went to see Grease in 1978, and it blew me away. Grease was a rare musical that, if you were growing up at that time and you saw it, it wasn't just a movie. Like, like that girls liked. Guys actually like Grease too, as well. I should say as well, so people don't think I'm talking about Grease 2, which is a whole nother segment. But I remember seeing that movie, and my brother Paul and his girlfriend Cheryl at the time took me, and we went to the Avon Theater in Hamilton, and I just fell in love with that movie. I saw the movie probably about 5 times that year. Actually, it was 5 times that summer. Because that was back in the day when you had single theaters, and basically they would show one movie all summer. And so I absolutely adored it. I'd take anybody I could, my father, anything. I played the soundtrack over and over again. I think my brothers absolutely went nuts because I played it so much, Hopelessly Devoted, Summer Nights, Grease, you name it, that whole album got played. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I had a real strong crush on Olivia Newton-John. This is predating maybe my gay years. But I truly believed, I absolutely adored Sandy. I love that she was this sweet, innocent thing, and she actually fought to be with the man she wanted to be. Of course, you can look back now at Grease and say it had some bad issues telling you gotta change if you want to get the man, but who cares? The movie's fun. It still holds up today. I talk about it, and I can see someone in the room is just melts with hearing about it. John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, Stockard Channing. I remember when I saw that movie, I thought to myself, wow, I'm going to look really mature in just a few years when I go to high school, because I didn't realize how old they were when they did it. Olivia herself was probably about 30, and Stockard Channing was about 4 or 5 years older than that. Anyhow, so I became a big Grease fan, but I was an Olivia fan, but not to the obsessive ways. In all honesty, my big Olivia obsession didn't come till 1980, when I saw the musical Xanadu on the big screen. Now, I know Xanadu became a turkey, but again, you mentioned Xanadu to the generation that was growing up, and we remember the awesome music in it, Magic, I'm Alive all over the world, the title track, Xanadu. The movie's corny, it's goofy, but this now really made me absolutely fall for Olivia Newton-John. But at this time in my life, I was starting to know that I was starting to be attracted to the other sex, that I was gay. I never used those words back then because I really didn't understand it or know it. But I knew I was attracted to men. So now when I watched Olivia on screen, I was still magically enraptured by her. But now, where in Grease I probably had a crush on her, now in Xanadu, I wanted to be Olivia Newton-John. And I absolutely adored her. And it was because of Xanadu that I started going back and listening to other albums. One of my graduation gifts from my brother's girlfriend was the Totally Hot album, and it started getting me into other Olivia albums, and I started going back and listening to the country stuff. And it was at this point that I realized that Olivia's songs reflected me in a really big way. Like, a lot of the songs was not just her singing to me, it was, these are the lyrics I would be singing. Like, I identified with her music. In 1982, I want to say, I got a chance to go to my first concert. My first concert was going to be Sheena Easton. My brother wanted to take me, but the tickets sold out. It was playing at Hamilton Place, and I was really saddened because I really wanted to see Sheena Easton. But I believe everything happens for fate, and because we couldn't get tickets to Sheena Easton, my first concert got to be Olivia Newton-John. She came to the C&E Grandstand, and I remember so well that day because everywhere you went on the C&E Grandstand, they had Olivia playing somewhere because I don't know, I miss the days of the C&E Grandstand, just because they had some amazing groups there. And so I went to see her. It was the big physical tour, you know. I had, you know, the physical album just was mind-blowing to me. I know, you know, some people talk about, you know, Led Zeppelin 4 and stuff, but no, the physical album for me was pretty big, because again, it spoke to me, or it was what I would say, and I was going through. And, you know, I know what you're thinking, you know, the song Physical, really, you know, bonded, but you know what? I was going through my, you know, my prepubescent years and just learning about sexuality, my own, and yeah, Physical was kind of like a naughty little, oh, that's naughty, you know. And, you know, you like that kind of stuff when you're, you know, a preteen, becoming a teen. And you wish you could be bold and go up to somebody you liked and say, you know, let's get physical, you know, let me hear your body talk, you know, oh, nasty. You know, it seems all innocent now, but, you know, at the time, that song really was getting, you know, banned, you know, everywhere. So I got to see the concert. It was an amazing day. I was with my friend Una and my brother Paul, and Cheryl again took us. And it was a magical day because Olivia was everywhere in the air. And we had like real nosebleed tickets, but it didn't bother me in the least. When that little spot came out on stage, I knew that was Olivia shining and glistening, and I was just all nuts. And I remember my brother and, you know, his girlfriend was just like, is he going to make it through this? I think he might actually faint. And basically, you know, when she sang Hopelessly Devoted to You and Magic, I think I almost fainted, because those are my two favorite songs, Magic being my favorite song. But I literally just absolutely went nuts that day. And it was my first concert, and I'm so glad. Ironically, Mike's first big concert was when we went to go see her at Casino Rama. And Mike came with us, and I love that Mike's first big concert was Olivia, too. I always mention to Mike, did you know Olivia Newton-John would be such a big part of your life when you got together with me? And he always is happy that I didn't have somebody that he didn't like. He said at least Olivia he absolutely liked. And, you know, he had known Grease, but I showed him Xanadu, and I think he absolutely adores Xanadu, too, because it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's a gay man thing or something, but he just thought it was, he likes bad movies too, so let's give it to that. My love of Olivia just built even when her albums weren't selling quite as big. I followed her career. I absolutely adored her. In the 90s, I believe it was the 90s, she started opening up an Australian boutique called Koala Blue. It was a line she had started. And I remember there was going to be a chance to go see her because she was opening one in Sherway Gardens in Toronto. And my sister-in-law, Cheryl, took me, and we took buses to get there. We got up so early. We waited so long to get there. And when we finally got there, it was a magical time. We didn't get to spend a lot of time with her, but we got a little bit more than we expected because I remember that she had some issues with some stalkers. If you look it up, she actually had some bad times with fans that became obsessed with her. So we were told right away she's going to come out and speak to us, but she might not sign autographs. It all depends how she feels, as in, does she feel safe? Does she feel this is a good place? So anyhow, she came out, you know, and she was all in her koala blue outfits and stuff and looked beautiful, and it was the closest I got to see her. And I remember, you know, that she, you know, talked to us for a little bit, and then she started signing autographs, and I liked that she felt safe, because I really didn't want to think of her not feeling safe. And I remember I was kind of out of it. I could not even really concentrate on it. You know, here is a woman I idolized. not only that, here's a confession that many people don't know, and I don't even think Mike or my family know this, but when I went through high school, one of the ways I dealt with things was, this is almost embarrassing and a little sad, and I don't know why I'm tearing up, but I actually used to pretend I was Olivia Newton-John. Whenever I'd communicate with people, I didn't want to think of myself as me, this chubby red-headed guy with glasses. So I actually thought of myself as Olivia Newton-John, and wow, I can't believe I'm even confessing this, but she was that much of an idol to me. And I'd get my confidence from thinking I was her, and then I'd pass a mirror and be reminded that I wasn't. But anyhow, here she was, and she was just wonderful, and she signed a couple of autographs, and I couldn't get up. The crowd was too crazy, but my sister-in-law got me an autograph, and I still have it, though I wish I picked a different thing, because it's not very clear or anything, so. But I've never been one to be a big fan of autographs, stuff like that. But anyhow, as she was leaving, I kind of wanted her to know I was there, and I didn't know what to do. And so as she was about to leave, I just kind of yelled, "Olivia, I love you!" And I remember her turning back and said, "I love you too!" And I know she was saying it to just a voice in the crowd, but it meant so much to me. I saw Olivia in concert a couple of times, and I always was blown away by it. The second time I was going to get a chance to see Olivia was hard because she had to cancel the concert because she was diagnosed with cancer. And so I didn't get to see her, and I totally understood her health was obviously much more important than satisfying her fans, and she began a new career basically by, becoming a cancer survivor, and she started opening wellness clinics and starting to do she did spiritual music that I absolutely adore. And although I love her pop stuff and still listen to it, she started doing more spiritual stuff, and that stuff has been amazing for me when I go through hard times, because honestly, I'd listen to a lot of Olivia when I'd go through hard times. Not, knock on wood, I've never gone through a hard time like cancer. So I didn't think I'd ever get to see Olivia again, and then after she got cured, she did another tour that I got to see her in Buffalo, and we bought the tickets, and I was nervous about going to Buffalo, but I was excited to go see her again, and my brother was going to take me. And 2 weeks before the concert, my mother died. And it was very hard. And I wasn't sure if I could go. I was just dealing with so much, and my brother and sister-in-law said, "I think you should go. I think you need this. You need to get away from all this." And I'm glad they talked me into it, because I went, and they were right. I needed the distraction, and it helped me realize that life goes on. And then I got to see her one more time at Casino-Rama with Mike. I've stayed with her through her career. She constantly amazes me. She has a wonderful sense of humor. What I've learned about Olivia in all my decades of being a fan, she has a wonderful, wicked sense of humor. She comes off very sweet and innocent, but I've heard she is really got, she can really, hit with a zinger. She's inspirational without coming off as, I do this for me. She actually cares for people. Before the cancer stuff, she was a big advocate for, wildlife. She was a UNICEF ambassador, I believe. She cared about, you hear about everybody swimming with dolphins nowadays. She was one of the first ones who actually swam with dolphins and then wrote a song about it and produced a video for it. And I never saw celebrities do that. And then after she did it, I noticed everybody swims with dolphins now. She's just an amazing entity in my life. As I said, I pretended to be here for an unrealistically amount of time. That was how I found my confidence before I found the confidence in myself. I will probably always be an Olivia fan. I watch her movies regularly. She does 2 Christmas movies. She did A Christmas Romance and Mom for Christmas. I love Christmas Romance better, but Mom for Christmas is a lot of fun, and I rotate them each year to see which one I'm going to watch. I constantly show people Xanadu if they haven't seen it. Grease I watch at least once or twice a year just because I love the movie so much. I've recently been going to the Grease sing-alongs, and they've been just so much fun. She is just an amazing entity in my life, and I wish she'd get more recognition. As she gets older, I'm starting to see people like Madonna saying that Olivia was an influence to her. I love starting to see that she's getting that, but it seems like it's taken so very long. I don't regret things in life. I very seldom do. But if I had to pick a regret that I do, Olivia came to a hospital benefit here in Hamilton, and you could pay, I think it was $100 or a couple $100 to go see her. And at the time I was between jobs, and I didn't go. It was a meet and greet. And I look back at it now and think I should have even just put it on my visa or something, because I think it would be great. Then there's another side of me that thinks, well, maybe I shouldn't regret it because, maybe, though everybody I've heard who's met her said she's absolutely the person you'd want her to be. But I always get worried about meeting celebrities and maybe seeing a flaw. But to be honest with you, when I see flaws in people, it tends to make me like them more, because they become more human to me. Anyhow, I have rambled on about Olivia enough, and I could go on forever. If you're not familiar with Olivia's music, you should check it out sometime. She's got music for all tastes. She started out as country. She moved to pop. As I said, if you are ever in bad places, check out some of her healing albums. They are absolutely phenomenal. She's kind of getting back to more pop and doing, people are remixing her old stuff to hit the dance floors again. She's an amazing woman, and she will always be a part of my life. I call her my diva. She is definitely my muse, and she inspires me, and that's how I'm going to leave this. Anyhow, take a short break, and I will be back, and I'm going to talk about something that's rattled many cages that I've brought up lately in my social circle. But it's time to rattle the cages some more. That's next. Welcome back. We are here with you on the Devlin's Pirate Radio Show, the Devlin. I keep saying that every once in a while, and I don't want to start using that. I don't want that to be a thing. In the last segment, I talked about Olivia Newton-John. One of the things I forgot to mention about her is that I used many of her songs and music in my personal performances and stuff. For the very first Devlin show, I used a rock version of her song Magic. Magic is one of my all-time favorite songs, and I've used Magic in so many ways. And I have had many people say that they've been in a supermarket or they were driving in their car and they hear Olivia Newton-John's Magic and they think of me. That just makes me feel so amazing. Just thank you for that. Anybody who said that. And if you now go and hear Magic and you think of me, thank you for that. Because that song, every word of that song is what I hope to leave in this life, that I've inspired people, that I have, made them believe in things they might not have normally believed. And, just stuff like that. And that is a perfect segue to my next segment, which is a topic that I've just brought up recently that has made a lot of my friends and family a little edgy. Some get it, some don't. I decided I'm going to try to explain it, even though many of you might be turning off right now because you're like, no, I don't want to hear about this anymore. I don't want to hear about this. But you know what? You're going to hear about it unless you turn it off, and then I can't really fight you on that. I don't have a magical touch that can turn back your radio on. My 50th is coming up in a few years. I'd like to think it's further away than I thought, but I know that time plays tricks, and it's going to be here in no time. I've constantly thought of what I want to do, throw a party, have a get-together, maybe do something small. So many things roaming in my mind. But recently, I've been thinking about doing a living funeral. And those two words have personally just put a shudder in a lot of people. And I get why. Especially after the year I've had. I know I've talked about suicide. I've talked about how low, how dark I have gotten. Just when I think I'm crawling out of it, I feel like somebody's kicked me in the face and I've fallen again. Right now, I can't lie to you and tell you that everything's perfect and everything. I am going through some shit I can honestly not put my finger on. I want to say it might be midlife crisis, it might be middle-age crazy, whatever you want to call it. It might just be me going insane, I think, sometimes. I wish I could tell you I'm in a great, great place. I love the majority of my life right now. I love, I could look around and count tons of blessings, but I'm just going through a weird period where it just isn't helping or enough, or I don't know what it is. People tell me I'm just in a transition period, you're going to be fine, and some days I feel like I'm not ever going to be fine again. And that's the thing that really scares me, because of the fact that I always have seen lights on the horizon, and those lights are slowly going out. But that has nothing to do with my thoughts of doing a living funeral. I am a huge advocate of funerals. I know we've gone through a period where people are like, I don't want a funeral. I don't want anything like that. When I die, I just want it to be done with. And as much as I want to respect that, I think that's just utter bullshit. Because we have to be logical here. You may not want a funeral, but a funeral isn't for necessarily the person that's dying. A funeral is a closing chapter for the people you've left behind. And they need that mourning, because if you don't have that closure, you're going to be haunted by it. And that's why I can't stand when I hear somebody tell me, oh, we're not going to really have anything. And I'm not saying you have to have a funeral. Not at all. I think you could have like a party or a life celebration, or you could even just have a dinner where you go and talk good things about that person. But you need something. So I respect the fact that people don't want a funeral, but when they do absolutely nothing, I don't think that's good for anybody's health. So, I've heard about these living funerals happening, and I just thought I'd kick around the idea. I don't know if I was 100% serious. Being a sensitive guy, I probably would take it a little bit too crazy. But basically, I just thought it would be interesting that people handle me like I was dead that day and just say nice things about me, whether it's, a memory, to just share a memory. And then at the end, I would come out and, share little things with you. Now, it doesn't sound particularly entertaining for everybody else, but for me, I think it would be a nice way to wrap up the first 50 years of my life. Now, the problem came is because of my dark situations the last little while, everybody thought that this was me wanting to off myself. I've also talked about disappearing. Right now, I've mentioned that I'm starting to close down my engines. It seems like, I don't perform improv as much as I probably could. I didn't do my monologue show, and I always thought about doing my other next monologue show, but I'm hit a plateau where I don't know if I really care if I ever hit the stage again. And that bothers me because I know how much I enjoy performing and entertaining. But I don't really care if I ever perform at this moment in time. Next year I could be like, oh, I need to do something. But right now, and because I've been telling people I'm shutting down, I think everybody just assumed that I was going to do this living funeral and then just disappear. And as much as that at this moment sounds very appealing to me, let people see me at my best and they don't see me when I grow old and start falling apart. Though I always vowed if I grew old I was going to do it very fabulously and glamorously, but I guess that's up to the powers that be, if that happens or not. But you see, I think a lot of people put the negativity aspect to funerals, but for me, funerals are a positive thing. See, I don't see them as, I do see them as sad things, but I also see them as celebrations of someone's life. When my mother passed away, and a little bit with my father, I was surprised at the people that came out to the funeral and were touched by the people who came out, people that they haven't seen in years. And they came out to pay tribute. And it was very inspiring to me. So when I see these wakes, yes, it's difficult when you're going through them, but I also look at them as like, look at the life. Look at how many people this person touched. So I see funerals as a positive way, and I think the problem is that a lot of people see them negatively. And nobody likes a funeral. Don't get me wrong. No, I'm not going to be one of those people that just go to random funerals and mourn and, get a couple of free, cheese and crackers or something. I don't want you to get that idea, because that's not at all what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that I consider funerals a positive thing. So when I said I wanted to do a living funeral, I didn't want to say that it was going to be all dark and dank. I wanted it to be a celebration. Then people were like, oh, you should throw a party. And I said, well, this is going to be a party. It's not going to be the whole thing. I want people to dance. I want people to, feel good. I want old people to feel young again. I want young people to just feel the age they are. I had so much positivity to it, but I think some people took it in a bad way. And rightfully so. I haven't exactly been in the best of moods or times or stuff like that, and so I just wanted to straighten it up right now. I probably won't have a living funeral. I also wanted people to send me flowers, because I hate the whole knowledge that I'm going to get so many flowers on the day I die, and I won't be there to enjoy any of them. It sounds stupid, but I love getting flowers. When I do a show, I don't think about it while I'm putting together the show, but at the end, people start handing me, bouquets of flowers, and I forgot about this part. And it just, I don't know, maybe I'm greedy or something, but I want to feel that kind of love and admiration while I'm alive. And don't get me wrong, I get a lot of that. I am blessed to have the friends and acquaintances I have. During my dark time, it was amazing the outpouring I had. People I thought would reach out to me did not. They ignored me. And people I didn't even know really paid attention to me held me close. And that is touching. And I guess that's what I was hoping for with the living funeral. I know I'm a needy person. I know I'm overly sensitive. I always say, Mike, I don't know how you put up with it, because it seems like I always need a reaffirmation. I won't go into that again. I did that all with the Left Behind thing. But even when I'm not left behind, I still love getting that. And I don't think I'm alone in this. I think we all need that. I just think I'm obsessive, and I hate even talking about this, because it makes me, even talking about it makes me feel like an asshole, like a douchebag, that I'm so needy, send me flowers before I die. You know, it just, I know I'm not going to listen to this one. I'm not going to replay this segment, just because I can tell I'm going to just like cringe that I recorded it. But what I wanted to set the stage is that when I said living funeral, and if you get invited to a living funeral in the future, I'm not seeing it in a positive way. I don't want you to wear black. I don't want you to wear veils over your face. I always said when I die, I'd love people to be destroyed. But I want them to be destroyed, and then a couple minutes later, I want them to laugh. I want them to dance. I want them to think of me in a positive way. I want to see tears at my funeral. But then I want to see tears of laughter, of, oh, remember that time? Or stuff like that. So that is what a funeral is to me. There is sadness to it, but there should be so much more. There should be so much remembering and never forgetting. So I'm sorry if I insulted you, if I mentioned I wanted to have my living funeral. But I don't want you to think it was because I was planning to just disappear. One day I might just disappear. I don't know what's going to happen. This year has been so effed up for me. Don't even know why I'm censoring myself, because I know I've probably swore a couple times already during this show. But it's been so effed up for me that, yes, I do think about just turning it off. You don't know how many times I've wanted to just quit Facebook. In some ways, I have quit Facebook, because I'm taking a break. I'm not writing statuses. I'm still playing my songs of the day. I'm still putting my memes of inspiration. I'm still putting funny things that I see, you know, nostalgic things. I'm just not writing my moods as much. I promote things like my radio podcasts when they drop. I promote, you know, shows that my friends are in. But for those of you who know me on Facebook, you've probably noticed I don't write that, because I don't know why. This is me shutting down again or something. I don't know. It just seemed right to do. I feel right about it. I may start Facebooking again and writing, you know, my feelings every day. Like, I'm in a great mood. I'm in a bad mood. I'm in a, you know. But right now, I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of me in some ways. So I don't want anybody to think that it was like I was going to off myself after the living funeral. That's not it. Maybe it was just me hoping it would be enough inspiration to get me through the next 50 years. Yeah, like I'm going to live to 100. But you know what? We can always hope and pray. So anyhow, funerals for me are not negative. So when I mention a living funeral, it's not going to be a sad, sad affair. It might be emotional, but I will guarantee you, I will make sure there are lots of laughs and stuff. That being said, I may not even do anything special for my 50th. I might just have a few friends over. I might just, you know, I might just go off by myself for a little while. I've done that before on birthdays. But we'll see. It's still a couple years off, and it's not like I want to send out invitations, so you guys are all ready for me in 2-3 years. So yeah, when I talk living funerals, please do not think I'm thinking of it negative. I actually think it's a positive thing. And again, nobody likes to go to funerals, I admit, but at the same time, I think for the people involved, it's a cleansing experience, and they have to happen. All right, enough talk about that. Let's go out and live our lives. And that includes me, even though it's, hard to get me motivated. I'm going to do that, and you do that too. And I will be here with you next week. So have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.